night while he was here. You know, and we would go out all day and then we'd watch a few at night. And I finished it and I got all wrapped up in it. And I absolutely loved that first season. I thought it was pretty good. I still think riding the dragons is a little like, you know, like you're powerful. Like you can just control them. You don't have to ride them. Like it looks silly to me. But overall, the show I thought was pretty good. So I avoided a spoiler thus far this morning, and I'm happy about that. I'm very interested to see how I feel about, we're going to make you watch one per week. There's a similar situation with movie. Are we going to the theater or are we going straight to the stream? Right? And there's two schools of thought there. For the movie, it really does seem as if the better the quality the movie, the more likely you are to have to buy a ticket and go into the theater to see it initially. Then yes, everything comes to the streamer. Straight to the streamer is sort of still very much like straight to video, where it's like good, not good enough to get you to leave the house to go to the movies, right? And I would imagine that there's a little bit of a similar situation when you're talking about TV shows. It seems like the shows everybody talks about, most of them anyway, are episodes a week. One, maybe two. I think that's really the best way for me. Because when you see the cliffhanger end of the episode, you're like, one more, right? It's like, crap, give me just one more. Right? So one almost at this point doesn't feel like enough when they release them. All of them on release day almost feels like too much. I've said I think I'm going to like viewership better when I have the week to let them breathe. Now again, I told you I'm re-binging the original Game of Thrones. Have I been letting those breathe? No. Yesterday I watched a ton of them. I laid around all day yesterday, ate food, and watched a ton of that show. That's what I did. So I wasn't letting any of those breathe. I was watching, just consuming them. Now I'll tell you, by the time you get to the third one of those, you're already on Amazon again, right? I can kind of listen in the background. Jon Snow's just going to yell about this a little bit more. I know the wildlings are good now. I got it, right? And then you just stop paying attention. So I think the episodes per week is beneficial. It really seems like they know everything they put out isn't great. But if they think what they have their hands on is really good quality, they make you wait. That seems to be the breakdown. The other show people were excited to get back recently is Amazon's The Boys. If memory serves, this is the 4th season that has come out now, and we were told that the showrunner is telling us the 5th season will be your last. I see season 4 getting review bumped. It's because, by the way, the showrunner came out 2 weeks ago and told everybody that Homelander was a Trump-like figure, and you're supposed to hate it. But people like Homelander, and so he came out, and he was very critical of the former president, and he said a bunch of things, and he said, yep, absolutely, that's what this show is about, that's how I wrote it, that's what this is, and so now people who love the show now kind of hate it, some of them anyway. I'll be honest with you, I thought season 3 of The Boys was kind of like, oh God, we're losing our way here a little. It wasn't the messaging, it wasn't the politics, it wasn't that. Politics have been in everything my entire life. One of my favorite songs ever is a song called that crazy stuff people go, nuts over. It just started to kind of lose its way for me. I didn't think the 3rd season was all that good. We'll see here. Am I going to watch the 4th season? Of course, I'm already invested. Let's see what happens. There's a character in that show, by the way, The Boys. It's like I liked him. I thought that character was really good. People are now convinced that the show had him replaced because he doesn't look the same anymore. I think this is another one of those Ozempic cases where people's faces are starting to droop, and again, people have been talking about this with those Ozempic. Scott Disick, look at it, he looks like a completely different person. They just don't, that you start to look different. It's not like a natural thin. Like it isn't. There's a little bit like, oh, the cheeks are sucked in somehow. And and you can tell like you're still top heavy, but like lower body is like thin, and like you cousins? We got the cousins? Why? Maybe that could have happened, but when I see there, it's just a dude who took a little Ozempic to try to thin out just a touch. For those of you that don't spend all day on the internet, I am envious. But you may have also been missing out on something. Not that you need to know. But the N-word is having a massive resurgence due to social media influencers right now. And now a DoorDash driver has been fired because of it. We'll get to that story, and we'll do that here next on Rock 106.9. Welcome back to the Stansbury Show on Rock 106.9. Golfers, get your team signed up for the Stansbury Cup, our golf outing at Raintree Golf and Event Center. That on July 24th. Your sign-up sheet at WRQK.com. Look forward to seeing you guys out. That'll be a good day. It's a great golf course. Can't wait to see. All right, those of you that don't spend all day online, you miss some of the things that happen online. I'm almost envious of you. One of the things that's been taking off the last couple of weeks is the rise of the N-word. Influencers have been going overboard trying to get away with using this word. I believe what is considered to be a trad wife did this, I think last week, right? Some white lady was like, look, it's just a word, you can say it. She then, of course, was fired from her job and all this stuff, and then went on and, played the victim role and that whole thing. And people have been pointing out their view is it's just a word. And look how fragile everybody is when you use said word. And so it's having a moment in the sun here, in the wrong manner, if you would ask. I don't quite understand the obsession with using this word. You'll see white people, like Theo Von once said, I believe it was, that somebody had said to him, had called him the N. He had like one of his black comic friends called him the N word because I was never more proud that day in my life. And it was like, I understand what he means by that, right? There's an acceptance in that, I guess, is what he's saying there. And I could understand. And so you're just watching people, lemmings is what we'll call them, because they're literally running off the N-word cliff here and just ruining, these social media platforms that they spent the last few years building that are profitable for them. And they're going out of their way to ruin them for themselves. And I don't quite understand it, if I'm honest. I really don't. But this here is a man who is door dashing. I don't know if this is a byproduct of what we're seeing online or not. I would have to assume at least partially, but a DoorDash driver, which I'm sure you've ordered DoorDash or Uber Eats or, something along those lines before. One of the things they do now is they drop the food off, they take a photo, and that's in the app. Hey, look, it's there. I don't know why they do that. We all watch that little car on the map as it's driving to your house. Oh my God, my Whopper's almost here, right? Like we all watch that thing happen. But they show you your food's at your door now. Probably a smart business plan for them, right? And so the driver's responsibility is to take said photo and post it. Now, some of you don't need that photo because you have a Ring camera. You have the doorbell system that kind of watch your house. Most people I know have one of these, whether it be Ring or another brand. Most people I talk to have this at their house. These things do not just record video, they record audio as well. This happened the other day with a DoorDash driver, and I can't believe he thought this was a good idea, or that this was not going to come back and haunt him. The audio's not great since it came from a Ring camera and he's standing pretty far away from it, and I think by design. But I have heightened that audio, I've raised it, and hopefully it will come across well for you. But this, it's short too, by the way, it's not all that long. Again, he's dropping the food off on their door. But this is what he said. Here's your food. Here's your food. Here's your food. don't quite understand. I can understand in a heated confrontation how that word comes out of somebody's mouth. I've said this before, not that it is an excuse, but it is a reason. In arguments, what people are trying to do is just upset the other person. And let's be honest, we know that word is a bomb. And it's going to make somebody lose their mind. And I think sometimes people are willing to overlook the fact that they're going to be seen as racist for just trying to win in the moment of a heated argument. They're just trying to trip people up. They're just trying to get you to trolling, essentially. Not the best way to troll if I've ever seen it. It's not at all. I guess I don't know everything that took place because you can text the drivers back and forth a little bit as they're on their way. We have seen no other screenshots, no other info come out of it. So all I have to go off of is this video, which just sounds to me like a guy just dropped the food at the front door and was upset over the fact that he had to drive food to an African American person. Which I don't understand why that would make you upset. What's the difference? I also want to tell this guy something I used to say all the time while I was bartending. I used to tell people, you think I'm bartending at my age because I want to be? I'm bartending at my age because I want the money. And by want, what I meant was, I need it. And so I need the money. Bro, if you're door dashing, it ain't because you want it, right? It's because you needed the money. You needed the job. My guess is it's probably a second job. Maybe it's not. I know plenty of people. I don't think it's most people who do that for a living, but I know a few of them who make a damn good living and it's the only job they have, and they said, look, and I can make my living doing that. Why wouldn't I do that versus working harder? I could understand that argument. Could get it. I don't think that's most people who are driving the food. I think most people who are doing it, it's probably a side hustle or what side grind they call it now. Side grind. Right? That's probably your side grind, not necessarily your job. But what does that tell me? That your job doesn't pay enough, or at least you don't think it pays enough, that you're out here doing that. So why on earth would you risk money that you have basically told us that you need in order to say this without a confrontation taking place prior to this? This is just pure hatred. Does it sound like I'm trying to create an avenue where people can use the N-word? That's not what I'm doing. But I understand how in a heated argument somebody goes, oh, I just want to say this to watch them freak out, and don't think about the fact that, oh dude, there is a snowball that is going to come down that hill and gain speed and traction and size and roll you right over after you have whipped out that. It is a hot button word. It is a punch phrase, which ironically will get you. Well, absolutely get you pumped. So we've talked about that word a little bit. There is one area in society where I wish I was able to use this word. And I will tell you where that is. And we'll do that next on the Stansbury Show. Welcome back to the program. 330-450-7625 to send a text to the studio. You can also sign up for the Stansbury Cup, our golf outing, that at WRQK.com. We'll see you guys July 24th at Raintree Golf and Event Center. Looking forward to it. We've been talking about this DoorDash video. This guy's been fired. DoorDash let us know that for having said this while dropping food off.
Here's your food.
I just don't understand it. I mean, I don't get it. Unless you're just an outright hateful person who thinks you should not have to deliver food to certain groups of people because you dislike them, which of course would be insane, but somebody has to feel like that. Somebody out there feels that way. They're ridiculous, but they exist, right? I was making for somebody who, assuming is your second job. Now that's a big, right? Makes an ass, making an ass out of myself there, but that, it feels like that while you're doing that for a living. My guess is if that's what you're doing, You're trying to supplement your income. Nobody goes, oh, let me go DoorDash just to screw around, right? I mean, maybe an influencer, a day in the life of a DoorDasher, right? Like how they do that kind of stuff now. Some of those influencers, but I don't think most people are going through the hoops of signing up to be a delivery driver just to screw off. I don't see that, right? You're doing it for the money. And so that was pretty bold there because you're going to lose your job for that. Take the N-word out of it. You're harassing a customer at some point. DoorDash doesn't want you harassing their customers. That's where DoorDash makes their money, is off of me, not you driving it to me. They make it off of me ordering it, right? Don't harass customers. Don't do that. There's another one of these N-word type stories out here. I'm going to say a name a lot of you aren't going to know. Your kids might. Jack Doherty. Jack Doherty is a pretty famous streamer, and he's been embroiled in a bunch of controversies recently. This one, I believe, this happened at a McDonald's the other day.
Those order screens are so unhygienic.
He's starting to talk about, you know, how you're standing at the counter, but there's one of those order screens right behind you, and I believe one of his buddies starts to use one of them.
Those order screens are so unhygienic. You probably haven't had food in 6 days.
And so he's being accused of using the N-word there. He claims what he says is hater. He claims, like, as a matter of fact, I have his explanation. This is that.
I literally cannot believe I have to do this right now. How the f people think I said the goddamn N-word? Are you retarded?
Here's what's crazy. He let that word fly. While he's in trouble for saying another word, he let this one go.
People think I said the goddamn N-word. Are you retarded?
Like, that word technically is still on the no-fly list. Technically. It's starting to creep its way back. I said not that long ago, it was about 2 months ago, that the word retarded, and I'm going to use this word here, and I don't on the air, but I am going to use it here. The word retarded and the word fag are both coming back to people's conversations. I have heard both of those words more in the last 2 months than I have maybe in the last 5 years combined. Both of those words are coming back. I just thought it was pretty interesting. While he is freaking out and defending himself from using one word, he leans on this word, which is going to have an entirely different group of people upset with it.
I think I said the goddamn N-word. Are you retarded? I literally said hater. Watch the video back, and when I say the word hater, say the word hater in your head. If you say the other word in your head, it makes it sound like it says the other word. But I literally talk so fast that it sounds like it, but...
All right, I talk pretty fast, and you can misconstrue some things I say. Okay, maybe.
I said hater. I say the word. I say hater all the time. Like, if you watch any of my videos...
And I don't. Only time I ever see this guy is when he's in trouble over something that somebody heard that he had said.
You know I say that. What the is this? I'm literally going to sue all these people saying...
You're not suing. Again, people who sue you don't threaten. They just pick up the phone and do it. Anybody who threatens is a pussy. People who sue you just pick up the phone and make it happen. Anybody who tells you, I'm going to sue you. I've been threatened to be sued 3,000 times since starting this job back in 1999. And I mean threatened to be sued so many times. Have I been sued? Yes, I have. I never saw it coming. They just picked up the phone and did it. Every other day, somebody will, I'm going to sue you. It's like, no, you're not, bro. No, you're not. People who sue you just pick up the phone and do it.
I said that word because they're literally saying I said it straight up. That
so he's defending himself there. I have this. I have the word itself that is in question here. I'm going to raise this audio for you as well to see if we can figure out what it is he has said here. I don't know if this will work or not. Let's take a listen to the word itself. Oh, I'm sorry, dude. All right, now what they're saying is he says effing hater. And what they claim you're hearing is the tail end of the end of the F word and then midway through the word hater. And he's claiming he's talking fast enough. One word almost makes it more difficult to understand, not less. That right there, I don't think would vindicate him whatsoever. I think he saw this going viral a little bit, the N-word, and again, because it has been, a lot of influencers have been testing this water recently over like the last 2 weeks. Again, one woman went viral because of it. I think he was testing the waters, and he has been caught here. He thought I'm one of the younger kids, I'm part of Gen A or whatever the hell. We're not racist like the boomers. People are going to know I'm streaming and I'm going to be let off the hook here. And that's not what's happened at all. And I think he realizes now, I'm not in the cool club. Now, I said prior to this conversation, there is one area in life I wish I was allowed to use the N-word. No, it's not Theo Vaughn. I have flare-ups in traffic. That's not it. I do have an area in which I wish I was allowed to use this. You know what it is? N-word, please. It is the greatest phrase in the history of man. I love N-word, please, because it means, it's sort of like, N-word, please, is like urban forget about it. Like, forget about it kind of means everything. We going tonight? Forget about it. Forget about it. Remember that from Donnie Brasco? Forget about it kind of meant everything. N-word, please, kind of means everything. And I always, every time I hear it, I'm always like, oh, damn it. I wish I was allowed to do that. It is so, every time I hear it, it makes me laugh. Every time. Because it's like, if you think somebody, if an African-American thinks what they've just heard came from like the dumbest man alive, N-word, please, right? And like, it means, it's, again, the urban forget about it. And every time I hear it, I'm jealous. I'm like, damn it. I wish everybody wouldn't abuse this word because I want that phrase. And that's the only way in which I want it. I had been guilty early in my life of, oh my God, test the boundary here. You want to watch people freak out, not knowing the ramifications of your action. As a grown person, it's inappropriate. I find it to be inappropriate. But N-word, please, I do laugh every time I hear it. And I got to admit, sometimes I wish I was allowed to use that one. Welcome back to the Sansbury Show on Rock 106.9. If you're a local artist and would like to be featured tomorrow for New Turd Tuesday, hit me up. Find me using the email, SansburyWRQK.com. I'm on all the socials, The Sansbury Show. Great way to reach out. We'd like to get you played and highlighted for New Turd Tuesday. Pretty sure we're going to go with some new Def Leppard tomorrow. There's new country music all over the place. I got new Luke Combs. There's new Luke Bryan. All Luke all the time, maybe. No, not probably going to do that. And a few other things out there as well, but I'm interested. I guess Def Leppard teamed up with Tom Morello for a song called Just Like 73. All right. We'll see what that's all about tomorrow for New Turd Tuesday. Today on the program, we did talk to Scott from winningfornextyear.com. Had a little phone issue. I heard back from him. It was actually his phone that had a little bit of an issue. He knew for sure. So we talked about him. We did not get to the Amari Cooper issue. Again, holding out a mandatory camp, looking for a contract extension. I believe it's Amari's birthday today. Also told you about this DoorDash driver who's been fired for using the N-word. Jack Doherty, a streamer, under fire for people believing they have heard him use that word. He's claiming he said effing hater. The words kind of ran together, kind of sounds like something else. That's him using a little bit of, no, not me, don't cancel me, but I could be wrong. And then we spent a little of today's show talking about Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese. There was a flagrant foul that happened over the weekend with these two, and that's all it was a flagrant foul. But because it's Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark, it of course has to be something other than that. This whole situation with these two has turned racial, it's turned political, it's turned everything else other than sports. And Angel went to make a play on the ball. She claims she was a little far from the ball from my liking as a defense, but it didn't look like she was trying to take Caitlin Clark's head off either. Of course, after the game, Caitlin asked about it. She takes the high road. And people are using that as an excuse to let Angel Reese fans are using that as an excuse to let Angel off the hook. It's like, well, Caitlin taking the high road doesn't necessarily mean that's what she means. She's just doing what athletes should do. Competitive sport, it's physical, things happen, I'm ready to move on. That's all she's doing there. It doesn't necessarily mean that Angel was innocent. I kind of feel like Angel Reese, and Scott said it this morning, does not do herself any favors. I think it's because she's learning to embrace the Draymond Green villain role. She's starting to embrace it. She didn't like it early, but I think she's figured it out. This is who they want me to be. They're going to decide who I am. I don't decide. Society decides what it is I'm going to be. They've decided I'm going to be this person. So there, I'm going to be this person. I think she's leaning into it. I think it was a flagrant foul. It was called as such. We can stop the witch hunts of there should be suspensions, or we could stop we're using this word to describe, but TMZ's being dragged across the internet because they described it as Angel Reese clubs Caitlin Clark. So of course now they're being accused of being racist and all of these things. People use descriptive terms in headlines in the hopes that people will watch the video and or read the story. That's the end of that. There's really nothing else in that. Was it a little salacious language? A little like perk your ears up language? Yes, but that's all it was. They're just trying to get you to pay attention to it. I don't think there's undertones of anything else in there. If you missed any of those conversations, you can pick them up that shortly in the podcast at WRQK.com. Aside from that, done for the day, not back live again until tomorrow. So stay safe out there. Be good to one another. Sign up for the Stansbury Cup, our golf outing on July 24th. That now at WRQK.com. Hopefully you have a great afternoon, and hopefully I run into you somewhere around town. Comedy is coming to Canton, that on the 20th, about 7 days from today, as a matter of fact. About a week from today is when that will happen. Bert Kreischer, he was on the program earlier this week. We'll probably let you take another listen to that while he's in town on the 20th. But I do have tickets for you today and tomorrow. So at 8:45 this morning, we'll get you those. 9 a.m., we're going to take a look. This happens every year. Here comes this list. New slang your kids are going to be saying. Now, some of these I don't think you're going to hear your kids say. Every year this comes out, every year I'm like, nobody's going to talk like that. Remember this one? On fleek. Nobody says that. Absolutely nobody says that. Now, there's plenty of annoying things that get said out there. There's plenty of that. Some of it coming from right here in this room, right? So that can happen. But I think every time I see this slang stuff, I'm like, that's not going to catch on. And slang is interesting because certain words never leave. Once they enter, they never leave. A lot of them rotate. We'll change them, this and that. Cool just kind of stays, right? Like, it may not be the best word or the most current word for something that's kind of like, oh, I'm interested in this, but cool's never really going away. That word's been with us for a long time, and I don't see an expiration date on that, not even close, but we'll get to some new slang. Yapping is on that list, and I would be guilty of that, so we'll get there coming up at 9 a.m. this morning. Also, like I said, 8:45, we'll give you those Bert Kreischer tickets. We're going to spend a good portion of the 8 o'clock hour taking a look at a checklist. Now, not everybody that listens to this program is 40 or near it, but plenty of you are. And I ran across this list of things that if you're 40 or over, you should be taking a lot of this and installing it in your life, they say. I went to AskMen.com and found a couple of articles on this. It's an interesting list. There are things that I think I need to do a better job of getting these things in my life, being involved in some of these things, stop being so selfish and, give yourself up to some other things. This is a pretty interesting list. We'll take a look at the over 40 checklist. We'll do that coming up at 8 o'clock. Also at 7, the big story yesterday was Bernie Kosar is now suing an Ohio media company. He had been in partnership with an Ohio media company. They wanted him to place a bet when sports gambling was legalized here in Ohio. He made a very famous $19,000 bet. He lost a broadcasting industry job with the Cleveland Browns over that. He is now suing for damages. We got a couple of different articles on this. We'll get to this. Bernie's claiming they forced him to use his own money to make the bet. My best guess is even for a promotional situation like that, if you are actually going to place the wager, you are going to have to actually place a wager with your money. So we'll take a look at what Bernie's accusing Big Play of, and we'll get to their response, and we'll take a look at that. We'll get there coming up at 7 o'clock. Also, Jerry West, NBA icon, not only as a player, but an executive as